Harsh, how does CryptoBind solutions align with UIDA requirements, and what makes these products stand out in the market?
Okay. So first and foremost is obviously, CryptoBind ADV is a solution that has been in the market now for almost, say, 5 to 6 years at least. It is one of the more mature solutions, and still, maturity is not just a good enough, metric to say that it's a good solution. There has to be some more proof against it as well. So we have in the past done major deployments for our Aadhaar Data Vault solution. Some of the most notable ones are in places such as NIC, which is National Informatics Center, where we're handling roughly 130 to 140 crore Aadhaar records. So it is on an architectural level, it is more of an ADV as a service example, because Aadhaar Data Vault solution that we have established or positioned at NIC is handling the Aadhaar data of various government departments for various government schemes. So the government departments actually are consuming this Aadhaar Data Vault solution, and that is why I would say that it is one of the first examples of ADV as a service. So currently, the recent guidelines have said that ADV as a service is possible, but we implemented something a very long time ago for on a very huge scale, first of all. So in terms of handling such large projects or the volumetrics of Aadhaar data, we have the solution is proven in that sense, first of all. And second, obviously, is as the guidelines dictate very clearly is the security policies that need to be in place, such as having the UUID-based reference token generation method, or having a FIPS compliant hardware device. So we already have the FIPS compliant hardware device in our overall portfolio or solution stack. CryptoBind HSMs come with a FIPS 143 level 3 certified, boundary. And apart from that, also, as I was talking about, the various security mechanisms built into the ADV system itself. So, as I said, the various methods of generating the reference tokens, or the various methods through which the actual data is getting encrypted before the reference token is generated against that data. Even the application whitelisting process, or ensuring that only specific applications can access the Aadhaar data or the actual plain text Aadhaar number at the level of tokenization. And then going above and beyond to also say integrate a module for dynamically masking this Aadhaar data at the time of tokenization. So it is a very, very robust and well-defined access control mechanism that we have ensured in the Aadhaar data Vault solution. Then again, as I was talking about the architectural considerations, so we do have Aadhaar Data Vault as a service, as an offering, where you can have independent, fully isolated vaults and independent partitions for managing the keys of each of the customers. So again, this is something which is very, very beneficial for the SaaS solution providers. So for example, any of the HRMS platforms who have multiple organizations as their customers, and they want to enforce or implement another data vault solution at that scale. So that is where, again, ADV as a SaaS offering, now we have completely built it, or it is more easily accessible to a large audience or a large number of customers than just, say, a single deployment at NIC that we've done in the past. And another thing, as I was talking about, the volumetrics that need to be handled. So there's a very important activity that needs to be done initially at the time of onboarding the Aadhaar Data Vault solution. That is called your migration or bulk tokenization activity. So all existing Aadhaar records need to be migrated to the Aadhaar Data Vault solution. So we have got the custom APIs for bulk tokenization and detokenization, which makes the job easier initially when setting up the Aadhaar Data Vault solution. That is one thing. And again, coming on to the eKYC side of things, or eKYC solution. So, eKYC response, it's in there are multiple ways in which eKYC response, or say authentication response, is received. So when we talk about, say, AUAs, or authentication user agency, they only get the authentication of whether or not the user is having a valid Aadhaar number or not. So it's basically a yes/no response. When we talk about KUAs, which is actually your KYC related processes. So for that, you actually get the Aadhaar number plus the eKYC XML response or JSON response. So again, independent endpoints have been designed to handle either if it is just an authentication request or whether it is an actual eKYC response through XML or JSON. Those can be stored as well. There is again a different endpoint where you can say have Aadhaar numbers read from a CSV file, and then tokenization will take place on those records. So that is how it is a solution which is very easy to integrate, very flexible in terms of how it needs to be positioned. And there's obviously a proven track record for the solution as well in terms of the past deployments and the stability of the platform.
Yeah, that's great. Harsh, before we get into the compliance journey, and I go to Gaurav for this question, out of curiosity, I was asking. I mean, this Aadhaar data is as good as the SSN numbers for US, right? So if we tend to expand our wings to the other geographical territories, let's say USA, so the whole the compilation of the things that you said remains the same. It's just the jurisdiction boundaries that we need to cater to, the compliances that we need to cater to, and the whole things remains the same. Is it like that?
So yes and no, because I don't think we need to go to any other jurisdiction or any other country or imagine that kind of scenario. We ourselves have seen that there's a lot of other identifiers of sensitive information apart from Aadhaar data itself. So you have PAN numbers, you have passport IDs, you have driving license, anything as per the context in which you're talking of can be a sensitive information. So if you talk about, say, healthcare, so that is PHI records, customer or other patient records, or any history of the patient's healthcare records, that becomes sensitive in that context. You talk about payment card information, PCI records. So in that, again, your account numbers or your credit card numbers, your credit score, that becomes sensitive. So the solution that we have for Aadhaar Data Vault, yes, it is restricted to handling only Aadhaar numbers, but there obviously is it's fairly simple to expand this solution to handle other kinds of PI data as well. So we have obviously in our stack itself a PI data vault solution. We call it Secure Vault. So Secure Vault ADV and Secure Vault PI data vault. They're the two types of solution or two distinctions that we have. PI data vault solution plainly is open to say any kind of PI data that, as I said, fits in that specific context. So if tomorrow we have a customer that comes that's from the healthcare industry, we will configure those specific sensitive fields to be tokenized. For anybody coming from the BFSI sector, if they say that we want these fields to be tokenized and secured, then we can do that as well. Bottom line is the concept remains the same. Tokenization reduces the spread of sensitive data in multiple applications or databases, and it consolidates them into a single repository or a single location and replaces it with reference tokens. So it can obviously, as you said, be used for other countries as well. But in that case, other countries' compliance norms need to be looked after. So the reason why we also designed ADV separately is because ADV specifically mentions certain mechanisms to say handle the reference tokens or the ways in which the keys need to be secured. PI data vault solution on its own can be utilized with a KMS itself for key management and secure key storage, or it can be used with an HSM as well. So there's a flexibility for PI data vault, which handles multiple types of data. But for Aadhaar data vault, it specifically requires or mandates an HSM. So the internal structure and processing of Aadhaar data slightly changes. So those are the few things that need to be considered when you want to say expand this solution to handle other kinds of data.
That's pretty reasonable. Yeah, Harsh, and just also wanted to have a quick follow-up questions on that as well. What do you see according to you are the basic domains which are too eager to get their Aadhaar data vault implemented? I mean, we have fintech, we have healthcare industry as well. We have pharma industry. We have logistic industries. Every industry works on pretty sensitive data. I mean, data is the new oil. Everyone says that. But which industry, according to you, thinks that at this present point of a time are in the urgent need of Aadhaar Data Vault implementation?
I would say every industry is,
Yeah.
Because if you see, the compliance was released back in 2017. So it's almost, say, 8 to 9 years since Aadhaar Data Vault solution or Aadhaar Data Vault was recommended by UIDAI. And we still, to this date, get requirements from fairly big names or medium to small to medium to big size companies, sorry. So they do come to us saying that we need an unwritable solution. So we obviously never say no to these requests because it is a straightforward compliance that they're trying to meet. But it often begs the question, that why have these companies, say, delayed the implementation of Aadhaar Data Vault for such a long period of time?
Yeah.
So this is, again, not just Aadhaar Data Vault, but in general, as they say, security is something which is never given the required amount of priority by big companies in the industry. So it is not the right way to go, obviously. But yeah, it is the way it is. Things are the way they are. So I would say every industry should focus at the present to finish up quickly with the implementation of Aadhaar Data Vault because there are bigger or more pressing issues that are going to come soon with DPDP Act that is going to come into picture, say, in May of 2027. So, it's about being sure that you don't get penalized, then ADV is something which you need to focus on immediately. You also need to side by side start preparing for being DPDP compliant. So that's how I think every industry should, in a way, focus on this. And I would say that UIDAI has made or has given certain leeway in terms of implementing the solution. So earlier it was that there were AUA KUAs, there were certain ASA KSAs who would say fetch the eKYC data or authentication data from UIDAI and then forward it back to the AUA KUA. So anybody who wants to perform this eKYC process needs to have an AUA KUA license. Then of course, when they receive the Aadhaar data, they need to implement Aadhaar Data Vault. But now there is a concept called sub-AUA KUA. So if you're a sub-AUA KUA, it is basically, it allows you to use the architecture, it allows you to use the Aadhaar Data Vault solution or the HSM infrastructure of your AUA KUA itself. So any, say, small NBFC can become a sub-AUA KUA of an already existing big bank that is an AUA KUA. And that is how the services can then be utilized without having to invest much on the initial infrastructure needed to implement Aadhaar Data Vault. So that is how UIDAI themselves are, say, promoting or ensuring that the Aadhaar Data Vault solution is widely adopted and that security of Aadhaar number is of topmost priority across various industries.